Hello there, welcome to Conversations in BrandKnew, published by ISD Global. Today we're going to be in conversation with Abhishek Kapoor, Group CEO of the Puravankara, what do I call it, conglomerate. And welcome to the show, Abhishek.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Our pleasure, our pleasure. Let me begin at the beginning, as I say. Tell us something about your growing up years, your early inspiration, your mentors, I'm sure, during childhood.
I was born in Allahabad, brought up in Varanasi. So early years, I think some of the biggest influences I had was, of course, my elder brother. I had a lot of influence from my eldest sister and a teacher who was very close to my heart when I was very young. She inspired me a lot. Of course, for me, it's been a journey of meeting more people and getting lots of mentors, because you learn from everybody that you meet, and you keep changing as you go along at different times in different phases with different people. So lots of mentors. I can't name all of them, but early ones I would say these are the ones. But of course, I really looked up to my dad and my mom. Mom was really a feminist of her life, in that era. So yeah, all of those.
Wonderful, fortunate, fortunate. Um, uh, if you look at the career path that you had, there seems to be a great intimacy towards real estate. And I just wanted to say, because you spent decades, you're a seasoned star, as one would can call you. Was it by design, or you just ended up there without any GPS?
Well, without any GPS is the right answer. Back then when I had this opportunity, actually, um, the promoter who I was interviewing with, when I met with them as a panel of people, they recommended that you should do our real estate business. And while I was evaluating hospitality, so I literally folded my hand and I said, "Sir, ये तो माफिया फिया काम है, इसमें कैश वैश लेते हैं, कस्टमर का कोई हिसाब नहीं होता." And he really laughed at me. He said, "You know what? You're not wrong completely. I mean, not organized. I mean, today also I think we have a journey to go, but back then it had a different challenge." So I requested him to give me another opportunity, but he said, "No, why don't you try? That's the opportunity. It's so unorganized that it needs good quality talent. Postgraduate in finance marketing is what is need of the hour for the sector, and it will evolve, and you will, if you like no day to be a same day in your life, you will like this." So I took that up, and he mentored me for a bit, and I was very fortunate to have gotten pushed into it, and I fell in love with the business.
And there's been no looking back since
There
then.
is no looking back ever since.
Lovely, lovely. So this is obviously, I think next year you're celebrating the 50th year Golden Jubilee, and launched in 1975, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken. Right.
yes.
So over the past almost 5 decades, what do you think has changed within the group, within Puravankara group, and what do you think has remained the same? Because sometimes it's said that the more things change, the more they remain the same. So, what has been your observation? I know you've been here the past few years only, but over time, what has been your sense of what has changed and what has not?
So when the founder started the business, I think
Let's see, talking Mr. Ravi.
Mr. Ravi Purvankara, when he started the business from Mumbai, and then he moved down south to Bangalore, and today we are in 9 cities. We have delivered more than 80 million square foot, 42 projects. Today we have another 28 projects under construction. The scale and growth has been massive. But what's not changed, and I think that is what we love about Purvankara as a brand and as an organization, is the principles and values which it stands for. That's not changed. And I think the obsession with the customer and the product has not changed. I think these are two, or rather three things which I think make Purvankara what it is. And what's changed is, of course, the environment has changed, the markets have changed, the scale is changing, the aspiration that we have as an organization, the strategies that we're using to execute these three unchanged DNA level principles. Those strategies are being adapted in the new age. Technology, customer preferences, change in the world, all of those are influencing how we behave now and in the new environment. But fundamentals of the business haven't changed, and I think that is the biggest strength that Purvankara as a brand has in the world.
Okay, lovely, lovely. That takes me to my, we can segue into the next question. Uh, so, over a period of time, obviously, it is natural, and of course, the visionary that the founders and the promoters and the team members have been. You have right now, I think, multiple brands under the umbrella of Puravankara. There is an ultra HNI targeting, there is a mass targeting, there is a regular targeting as such. So, do you see this in terms of the brand going upstream or downstream as an overlap and an advantage, or do you see that it also comes with certain kind of restraints or shackles?
Look, I think as a group, we offer a range of products. And you're right, we have Puravankara, we have Provident Housing, and we have Purva Land. And now we have commercial office. So, if you look at the residential portfolio, which has been our biggest strength in the past, um, we offer products right from possibly 30 lakhs uh, going up to 100 crores, right? And over 100 crores. Um, and
Dip
we are,
into
we
your
are
provident fund and buy a provident.
that too, because of course you're right. I mean, the largest savings that or investments anybody does in the is in the real estate space, and majority of the market is in, and we are present in the entire category, right? So I think it's a huge diversified portfolio. It has a diversified risk and a very broad based geographic growth. So if you're in south, west, and north of India, then pretty much comprehensively we aspire to be a national player, right? And we are getting there, and it's taken us 50 years to get there. It's not easy to do. Um, and if you look at the product category wise, as I said, the principle of customer centricity has been there with us from the beginning, and the fact that we are solving, it doesn't matter whether you want a 30 lakh product or a 100 crore product. Yes, the offering would change, the product that you are offering will change, the service, etc. But the point is that the expectation that the customer has at a fundamental level, the promise that the brand makes does not change. And I think we wanted to bring in that consistency of that promise and delivery in people's mind, in cutting across the entire range of budget. It doesn't matter in which parts. Everybody deserves a home, and we wanted to democratize home ownership. At the same time, we cater to uber luxury as well in South Mumbai or Pali Hill or etc. So, or city centers in all the cities that we're present in. So for us, I think coming back, it's a huge opportunity. It gives us the kind of scale we want to build. It gives us a broad based platform to grow the business. And in the consolidating environment that it is today in this country in real estate space, we believe that as a brand, we can do a lot more than where we are today. So I think that's the aspiration, to kind of deliver to the brand promise and to the brand what it is capable of doing.
Lovely. I just kind of tailing back on that phrase that you use, and I love it. Democratizing home ownership, and that permits me to dovetail into my next ask, which is, as we all know, this is, forgive me for stating the obvious, that the real estate industry in our country is very, very disorganized. It would be getting better. It can only get better, I'm sure. Do you think it is a lack of intent or vision? Is it deliberate? I mean, this is coming out of a place wherein we are in the dark. So, as an expert, I would love to know your views.
Look, I think India as a country and as an industry, and I'll look at the economy and the industry or the sector, has gone through tremendous change. Today, I think, especially I would say from early 2000 to now, today mid 2000s, 2024, I think we've become a lot more organized than we ever were. So what's happened really, especially in last
As an
40,
industry.
as an industry, and even as an economy, we are far more an organized
Oh, yeah.
economy,
Most
and
certainly.
it's worked both ways, right? And um, what's really happened is that with regulatory body like RERA, which has been brought into place, with and the dynamics of the economy and the industry that have happened, especially in last 15 years, have accelerated. this consolidation and making sure only organized, structured, branded players are in the industry who have longer term goals and visions and want to be present for the long haul. And hence, and the kind of balance sheet and financial discipline that the developers and the industry has today, vis-a-vis how we used to operate in the past versus how we used to look at our capital and investment on ROI, etc., has completely changed. So, and the transparency of information has been brought. Data today is there,
Yeah.
which was completely absent. If you look at 14 years back in 2008, 9, 10, I think data was a big challenge. Today, I'm not saying that we're there, but it's substantially improved. So what is happening is that people know, they know from RERA because all that information is published. A lot of the developers are publicly listed, so a lot of that information gets published. And then, of course, social media and all of that, customers are very active. People are generally very active. So, that whole transformation of becoming an organized industry has happened. And hence, it's bringing a lot of value and confidence in the customers today to go ahead and take a buying decision. So, in that sense, and then, of course, the quality of delivery has improved, the timelines in which people are delivering has improved, technology has improved. So I think all of those, like other sectors in the country, have also contributed to the real estate sector. And I think customers are demanding today a world class lifestyle, irrespective of where they are in terms of their budgets. Because they're very well traveled. India is now, Indian citizens
Indians
travel the
travel
world.
the maximum now, actually. Yeah.
Absolutely. And premiumization of real estate is happening in a big way. So again, when you do premiumization, these guys are very well traveled, and the customer is expecting that you will bring those, I would say, the same quality of product and service that they have now seen in other parts of the world. So it's creating a positive pressure on the industry. While government has created a very good framework of managing that risk of the sector, the only thing that I think now is missing is really recognizing us as an industry. I think one of the biggest investments that the country will make will be in the real estate space. We know our neighboring country, China, has had 27% contribution from the real estate space, and that can become a key economic driver. I think India has that opportunity. We have the population, we have the people who need homes, who need workspaces, and I think that's the journey.
Absolutely, absolutely. You mentioned about lifestyle that allows me to actually delve into the next thing that I wanted to know from you. So over time, you mentioned aspirations have changed. Desires, likes have changed. Because we are far more exposed, far more educated, far more widely traveled. The expectations have changed. But at the same time, parallelly, what is also happening is that we are transitioning from a ownership economy to a experience economy. Do you see some trends that are coming through? Are there changes in investment patterns, especially with regards to the real estate industry?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think, as I said, people's expectation clearly has changed in terms of what they're expecting from their homes. For multiple reasons. One I mentioned is premiumization and globalization and the travel and the expectation. Uh, and the other thing that has had an impact is definitely COVID. That was one inflection point that has happened to the world. So today, you're seeing more and more customers are preferring larger homes. More and more customers are preferring to be in larger communities, desirous of open spaces, common, areas. Expectation from common areas has changed. Um, how they come together as socially has changed, because during COVID there was so much isolation, and of course people who were staying on rent had different set of challenges. Ownership has become so critical, which wasn't possibly the case at some point in time, because today home improvement has become a big thing. When you work from home or you were working from home, of course now everybody's back at work, but having said that, I think those are big changes that have happened in the customer psyche, and hence the expectation from the product, in terms of design and in terms of amenities, in terms of scale. Convenience is a big thing, and time is equal to convenience. I mean, how much time you save is equal to convenience. Technology, adaptation of technology in building homes is huge. I mean, today, so we have this uh, product called Blue Necks. And we do this in our World Home collections and some of the other projects in two categories. And what it does is that it brings in, integrates technology and health into homes, people's homes. And we do a mix of things to bring that together, right? Like any other part of the world, you get filtered water off the tap. So you're not thinking that I need to put my water filtration unit on and then wash my vegetables. You just go naturally and do it because water will come through in any case, right? To having the entire home connected to your app, and you can sit and operate your home from any part of, including your main door, right, which has a biometric lock, to your geysers, to air conditioning, to lights, to curtains, etc., etc., to putting an oxygenator in the clubhouse, which enhances your performance level and health ability to do a lot more on your health side, to creating a sky run in the project where what you've simply done is use spaces differently, and created this opportunity for people to run marathons within your complex, right? And different level of stress that you can take on your body depending on which age and how much of a fitness you want to take it to which level. So those are things which are exciting from the customer's point of view. But you don't forget that because we are present in many geographies, every geography has its own nuance of culture. So you can't, while these are themes which run across, there are themes
One size
which are-
doesn't fit all.
doesn't fit all. So what people would expect from a home in Chennai would be very different from people what they would expect from Mumbai, or from Bangalore, or a NCR or a Goa, because these are, people come with a different expectations. The weather is different, the environment is different, the cultural nuances are different. So you need to be able to understand those to be able to really create a quality of product.
I'm going to be juxtaposing my next question, and you inspired me to do it, Abhishek. What do you consider, I mean, the significance of health and wellness amongst leaders, entrepreneurs, top honchos in organizations?
Look, I think health and wellness is extremely critical for any business to succeed. And it's not just the CEO or the CXO, but the entire organization. But I think I would break it into three parts really. The physical well-being, and then mental well-being, and a lot of that comes from nutritional well-being. So who you are is basically an assimilation of what you eat, what you consume, and whether from food perspective or from environment perspective, and how you give back. And that's the process that we all as human beings do. We take in certain resources, and then we express those resources in our own way. So it's very important to watch what you eat, extremely important. I think I would say 75% of well-being comes from your nutrition. Of course, it's very important to have a healthy routine and a lifestyle. Mental well-being, a lot of it, at least for me personally, comes from, for example, I do meditation. I've done a program in Vipassana. I do Vipassana as often as I can too, because I do travel a lot. But the fact is that between these three things, you can really take your energy up. And when you walk into a room, you see the level of energy change, because we are all, basically energy in a manner of speaking.
Absolutely.
And then the whole direction of a conversation can change. A positive energy, a positive vibe, can just a positive outlook, a solutioning outlook, a mindset which
Mirror
is
neurons come into play and all of that, yeah.
absolutely. So the whole direction of the conversation of the entire team changes if they are all physically and mentally and emotionally in a good space. And as an organization, therefore, you attempt as a leader to try and bring in those aspects to everybody's life. And then, of course, culturally, you try and support people to give those opportunities and create that environment of, people thinking about these things and acting on those things on a more regular basis. And then overall, it's overall just changes the experience and how you come together as an organization and as a business. So yeah, it's extremely important.
Yeah. You touched upon leadership, one of my favorite topics actually. It said that leadership is all about what you do when nobody is looking. How will you define it as? And I'm not putting you in a spot, Abhishek, but how do you define your leadership style?
Look, I think the way I look at leadership is, I have a concept of, and I have not spoken about this in the past, but I have a concept of
You
constructive.
heard this here first.
I have this concept of constructive chaos.
Nice terminology.
So, and I got encouraged by somebody I was talking to, actually my nutritionist.
Okay.
Just about a week back, we were having a chat. He was asking me as to, how you've grown as an individual and as a leader, etc. And how do you think, what do you do for yourself that has made you grow the way you've grown, or what is it that you would suggest people to look at, right? When you groom them and grow them. So there is generally chaos in the world, and we're all dealing with chaos. But there is something called controlled chaos that you can create in your steady state. Is not necessarily a good state. You create controlled chaos to challenge yourself constantly, and that you can do at all levels, at a personal level, at an organization level, at a team level. So what you're doing is really putting out a challenge to yourself to take your ability, and I believe in unlimited possibilities of growth and change, of adapting, because human mind and human capability has got so much of untapped power in it, and that's how we have changed as a human race, and I think there is a huge future to go. So what is it that you do that you can constantly challenge, and that will allow you to take the whole thing to the next level, including your team, including your organization, including your business? So can you create that control chaos in a positive enabling environment with the required support to enhance people's performance and your performance, and learn and relearn and let go, but at the same time, so I think that's been one of the thoughts that I would, if I were to define it, I would say it would be transformational. I would prefer to be looked at as somebody who will constantly change and challenge status quo.
Absolutely. I think that's the default trap that a lot of leaders suffer from. If it ain't broke, why mend it, right? Whereas disintermediation is now table stakes, right? So yeah, absolutely. And which leads me to my next ask, Vishek. There is an adage cliche, what I might want to call it. That culture eats strategy for breakfast. In fact, I've gone on to, in fact, one of the last keynotes I was making, I actually said that culture is strategy. What are your thoughts on something like this?
Look, any business or any strategy is not how you put it together as a thought or as a well curated, debated plan. It's about execution. And if you were to execute, it's about people who execute. So eventually, it's the people strategy that decides whether any strategy is successful or not. And when you look at people strategy, the basic fundamental of people strategy is a culture. And you're right. I mean, it's cliched but absolutely true. That people run the businesses, and an organization is made out of those people who will eventually make an organization strategy or a business strategy successful. So if you have to build that culture in an organization, you should be able to one, articulate very clearly, communicate very clearly, and lead by example when you what you say. If you don't walk the talk, nobody will actually believe and work in terms, whether you look at the values, whether you look at norms, attitude, behavior of people, eventually that's what matters. How people behave as an organization, right? In an organization. So if you're able to imbibe, and today's environment, people are changing and you're growing at a rapid pace, there is a pace, there is attrition. Younger talent is very different than the older talent. There's a vast difference in the way they look at, we were talking about it earlier, for example, work life balance, right? Yes, there is a work life balance, but I'm working when I'm at leisure, and I'm at leisure when I'm working. And your ability to understand that nuance, that it's not about having an off post 6 o'clock or 9 to 6. It's about your drive and passion to do something. And actually, some of my best work has been, or ideas have come when I'm on a break. It's not come in my
So it's
office.
scientifically proven that our best ideas and concepts come from periods of slack, not from times of hustle.
Exactly. So like for example, when I talk to my kids, and my daughter's just come back from Canada, and she's saying, I have a great work-life balance there. I think India does not provide. I said, I don't think so. I think the whole action is in this country, and it's in your mind on how you look at what's your work-life balance. And if you're passionate about something, you will never ever feel that you're working, because there are two ways to look at it, right? One is, do you do what you love, or you love what you do, right? And both are great, because as long as you do what you love, you're in a great space. But if you love what you do and you then have to fall in love with it to really enjoy that journey, and that's the only way to live
That's the
life.
icing on the cake, if you can manage both.
That's the only way you will live life which is fulfilling. Otherwise, every day it will be a drag. You wouldn't feel like going. If there is no spring in your step when you get out of the house in the morning, or when you go back and you're sitting and you're thinking about, whatever it is in terms of work, and there's an excitement, there has to be that inherent, that tingle in your heart that, I'm going to go and get this done. This excites me.
Wow, another day at work.
Yeah, another day.
Not another day at work.
Exactly. So, I think those are things that, and the new generation somewhere is losing that plot. Nothing to take away. They have brilliant minds.
Very sharp, very smart, very
They
switched
know
on,
exactly what they want, which is great. And they have fantastic knowledge of technology. And, but I think the mindset change and that little shift of direction in the way they think when they go to workspaces, or to as a professional to work, or set up businesses, or as an entrepreneur, or whatever it is that they want to do, or an artist or creative agency, whatever. Amongst that, if you get the right attitude and behavior and right thinking, I think that's what changes. So culture is about that change of behavior.
Absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head, Abhishek. And just like, unlike what is perceived, education is not learning. Goal is not fulfillment. Goal is that, okay, you pick that task for the day or whatever it, but fulfillment, as you mentioned, is far more empowering, far more energizing, far more motivating. Okay, now just hypothetically speaking, you hit the jackpot, Abhishek. So you've been given Harry Potter's magic wand or Aladdin's lamp, as the case might be. And what would you like to change, in your industry and in the zeitgeist in the world? What are the things that you would do?
So let me talk about the world. I think if I could change one thing in the world, I think I'd bring all the trees, all the jungles, all the animals back into this world.
Let the world become another Amazon.
Let the whole world have, the green that we have lost, the ice back which has melted away, and the loss of so many species that have happened. I'd love to bring all of that back, because I think as human beings, it's our responsibility, possibly as one of the most evolved species on this planet, to make sure that what we take from this planet, give it back.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that's been really missing. From the industry point of view, I think the biggest shift I would love to see, and which would be my magic wand, would be to really look at how it is that is possible um, to keep the customer at the center of everything that we do as an industry. I think how you grow an industry is how you cater to how you win the trust of the customers. Somewhere, we're a lot of us are still running after the volumes in the business, and not really focusing on how we're solving for the customer in a more meaningful way. A lot of them are doing it, but a lot more can be done. And I think aligning people who are there in this industry to converge on that one theme of creating better solutions for the customer in both in terms of product and service is going to be the key. So I think that would be one thing that I would love to change, and not to mention the fact that if we had a single window clearance and we could all get our clearances very quickly, that would be the best one. Coming back to the nuts and bolts of the business, but yeah, I think that's what I would think.
Yeah, with your permission, I want to suggest the one way to look at would be, probably it's a little counterintuitive, is that we're always looking for customers for our products. Okay, the way to look at it would be wear a
Products for
slightly
your
different
customers.
hat, wear products and services
Yes.
for find products and services for customers.
Yes,
So
yes.
whether it is a post-it note or a Facebook or a
Yeah.
touch phone or Airbnb or fax machine, no customer said that I wanted it.
Yeah.
But somebody took the vision and took the moonshot, put it out there, and then
Yeah.
now you say, how did I survive without a touch phone all these
Yeah,
years? Right?
yeah,
So I think
yeah.
it's basically the onus is on us in
Yes,
terms of making
yes,
it sure it
yes,
happens, right?
yes,
Rather than put the
yes.
pressure again on customers.
Yes, yes. That's exactly what I meant when I said the entire industry needs to put the customer first.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, it's a tough space to be in, right? At any C-suite level, especially in a industry like real estate. So, where do you think you get your, I would like to know more about some of the books or leaders that inspire you in your professional life.
So I think I would name two leaders. Of course, Mr. Ratan Tata being the first one. He's truly, truly inspired me through my career since my younger days. I've seen him transform Tata, and I was fortunate enough to, come across him a couple of times. His humility, his ability to transform a business and really create a global organization. Really, really respect that. And of course, I'm spending a lot of time with the founder here, with Mr. Puravankara. I think a lot of influence coming in from there, his experience and knowledge and how he deals with things. Definitely the other one. In terms of book, I think a couple of books. There's a book called The Last Lecture. That would be pretty interesting for people
Fantastic
to read
book,
it.
yeah.
And there's another book called On the Brink of Everything. It'll be another one which would be quite inspirational in terms of looking at life, saying that every day is your birthday, every day is a new opportunity, every moment is a new, moment of your life which you can really meaningfully impact everything that is around you and people who are around you. So I guess these would be the.
And the last lecture, by the way, is a real life story actually.
It is true. That
It's
is
a
true.
very, very inspiring book. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And last but not the least, Abhishek, as I say, charity begins at home. What kind of energy, inspiration, motivation do you bring from family? What are the takeaways that you bring back to the organization through that? And do you give them some kind of return on investment for that?
So look, I think, and okay, so the way I look at people's lives, work and family are pretty intertwined in our lives, very intertwined. Both affect each other. Your work life can have a huge impact on your family life.
Absolutely.
And your family life can have the same impact on your work life. So it's very, very intertwined in the way we live our life in the real world, in the current world. So I think at home and at work, if you have that constant space of safe space and encouragement and empowerment for people who are around you
Psychological safety,
to
both at home and at work.
to create that two things. One, create that burning platform to have the hunger to grow, but without compromising your values and principles. So that hunger. And two is to look at life in a more balanced way and say that, you know what, while I have this, I'm in a safe place to try. I'm in an environment which is encouraging, which is empowered. I can create the disruption, the constructive chaos myself, and make sure I'm disrupting the last benchmark on a constant basis. So every day, if you improve a bit, and that's your endeavor, then eventually your journey of life is in
That's
one
what Darren
direction.
Hardy says in the compound effect.
Correct.
1% a day.
Exactly.
Lovely. Thanks so much, Abhishek. It was fun doing this with you. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
everything.
Absolutely
Good luck
a
to
pleasure.
you, your
Yes,
family, and
thank
your
you.
organization.
Thank you.
Thank
Wish
so
you the
much.
same.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.